All right, hey guys, again, this is Daryl.
And Aaron.
So we're now on day 10 of our Norwegian Cruise Line's Panama Canal 11-day cruise. So day 10, we're headed towards Cozumel.
Yep.
And we got in kind of late. Remember we left Harvest Caye, Belize, and now we're pulling into Cozumel. And the excursion doesn't happen until a little bit later on, right before lunch, or right around lunch. We also lost an hour, I think, when we were on the cruise. So we took the opportunity to sleep in a little bit, and we got up kind of late, and went to have some breakfast at about 10.
Yep, we did.
And so we went to the Garden Cafe. And that's really crucial, man, because that first excursion we did, we woke up late, didn't get food. It's great to go into the Garden Cafe and filling up. Then you don't really have to eat lunch. You know, you just worry about eating dinner when you get back on the ship.
Right.
So it's really important that you do get up and get something to eat.
And that is the benefit of, the Garden Cafe. We could eat as much as we want or as little as we want. We went to a sit-down breakfast, you get what you're served. You can ask for more. But the time you have to give your order. The waiter has to go put it in. They have to cook it, then bring it. Especially for mornings, the buffet style really worked for us.
Right. So, and I think where did we go? Or did we have to go to a room?
No. So
we went straight off.
We were meeting at the port for this one.
Yeah. So you basically go off. I guess it was probably level 4 or deck 4, across the gangway onto the dock. And what was interesting, and we actually filmed, and viewed them as they were tying the boat up and all that. And we were actually docked right next to the Norwegian Pearl. I think it was the Pearl. And if I'm not mistaken, Pearl was the one that was in dock when we left Miami. Remember, and they blew the horn, and they blew the horn back at each other. And so interesting, now we're 10 days along on the journey, and we're side by side again. So anyhow, so you basically get on the deck, on the dock, and it's a concrete dock, and you walk a good little distance before you go into actually in port in Cozumel.
Yep. So we took the opportunity before, it was about an hour before our actual meeting time with our group. We did notice where it was, so we located it first, and we decided to explore the port.
And it's a big, huge shopping area, to be honest. Restaurants and shopping. And so we just walked around, explored it a bit, took some pictures. You got the Cozumel sign you got to take your mandatory picture in front of, and did those kind of things for a little bit, and then moved over towards the Margaritaville, which is where the tour group was kind of assembling at 12:15.
Yes. Yep. So we, it was warm. So we headed into Margaritaville to get a beer.
You get a cold beverage. And so the excursion we're doing today is the Island Discovery and Chocolate Experience. So again, kind of a cultural type of deal. We're going to go on different parts of the island of Cozumel and check out some different stuff.
So once we finished the beer, it was time. We noticed some familiar faces that were going to be in our group lining up, and so we lined up and met our tour guide Martin.
Oh, Martin, yep. And bus driver Fernando. Yeah, but we followed Martin over to the bus area and boarded up. And as usual, for whatever reason, we were the last two on the bus. It's not because we were just slow. That's just the way it works out.
Yeah.
We like kind of hanging back anyhow. You can film better. You can see things better. Nevertheless, that's kind of what we do. All right, so we load up the bus, and we left to go and make the first stop of our excursion. It took 20 to 30 minutes. I don't remember exactly. And it was a Mayan Bee Sanctuary. So basically, we unloaded there. The couple things that they did, so they had a Mayan, I guess not a shaman, but a Mayan priest. I don't know if that would be the right word. But basically, a Mayan blessed us and did a chant, and basically blessed us with, with health and other stuff. So
and good adventures.
And good adventures. So that was all well received. And then where did we go next?
So our next stop was to go to more of a foresty area, so we could see the actual bees.
But I think there were a couple of trees that they went by that kind of like the other Mayan community in Belize. They had the sign of what the tree is and kind of what kind of health healing properties it has, or from a Mayan perspective.
Yeah.
And then so we got to the bees, and basically this setup was pretty cool. These particular bees have been managed, I guess, if that's the right word to use, by the Mayan for thousands of years. And they are stingless bees, which is always good if you don't get stung. But they do bite, actually, he said, but they're stingless. And they actually live in the hollow parts of logs. And they did have some of the traditional square bee keeper trays so they can get the honey and all that. But the majority was, at least on display there, they were coming in and out of the little bitty holes into those hollow logs. And it was really cool. I mean, you could see in some cases they were kind of rounder. You could see 20, 30, 40 bees on the outside. And there were some of them that were a lot more smaller, like, maybe not even the size of your finger. But there's this, the guardian bee is what they call him. And this bee just kind of sits there in the hole, not letting anything in. And you'd see another, one of the bees from their colony come in. He'd slide back, let him in, and get right back, and he stood in the hole. It was pretty cool.
It was really neat. They had, like Daryl said, the logs kind of up off the ground, and they were kind of secured. In between them was where they come fly in and out of the box, and you could see where they had buried the holes, like he said. But it had to be put in the ground somehow. Well, the posts where it goes into the ground were inside of these white 5-gallon buckets filled with water, and he said that was to prevent ants.
Yeah, and there was another setup where they actually had a concrete trench, basically, just surrounding. It's kind of like a moat surrounding any access to these logs, basically. And that's the same kind of thing to keep the ants and other walking critters out from their nest.
But like Daryl said, these are teeny tiny, like very tiny bees, and I think they're called
Melipona,
and they are stingless, so wasn't worried about being around them.
Right, and the next step, we actually went into an enclosure. Let's call it that, a netted enclosure. And it's funny, we all went in, and we're all thinking the guy was real serious to shut the door.
Yes.
And we're like, okay, we're trying to keep. What are we going to do? We're going to let some bees out in here? Well, that's kind of what you're thinking, right? Well, actually, it was to keep bees from coming in there because there was honey that he had in there.
Yeah, so he showed us regular honey you would normally get, and then he was showing,
and tasted it.
And the honey that they
the
produced. So he showed them, and it was a different look to it. And he had 3 different samples. The first one we tasted the regular honey, and then we got to taste 2 different variations of the Melipona, and it was
huge difference.
He said he told us it would be more fragrant and floral, and it would taste more citrusy. So
it was more concentrated too. It was it was
stronger, more concentrated for sure. Right. So that was interesting. They had some displays showing you the history and how it all came about. So very informative for that, for sure. And then we walked out, and they did have. It was outside in an open area, but they did have a gentleman there with different. They had the big round plaques showing the their calendar. They have
the Mayan calendar, basically. It's a set of 20-something days. It's 20 of them or something. It was interesting.
It was interesting, but they were telling us that their calendar is more accurate if you watch the moon phases and stuff. In fact, one of the things we learned was don't plant your corn until after the full moon. So just different interesting things that the Mayans have done all these thousands of years, and they hand it down to the next generation. But anyway, he had the carved into a big stone. He had that. He had some knives. The
dagger was basically obsidian. That it's pretty hard and pretty sharp. And then the sheath, I don't know what kind of rock it was, but these were really, really cool. I went ahead and picked one of those up.
Yeah. And they had necklaces, bracelets, and other things. So we paused there for a little bit and talked with the gentleman there for a little bit.
And then we loaded up the bus again. It's probably close to 2 o'clock at this point. And so we drive for about 10 minutes or so. And we actually reached the beach or the shore. Then we drive along the beach for another 5, 10, 15 minutes. I didn't really track the time. We were having a good time.
Well, the interesting thing was, as we were going along the beach, he was showing you all the families. So this was a Sunday, and he said normally he would be with his family, and he showed us the families on the beach. There was an interesting area where a little bit out into the surf, they had kind of a circular rock area, and that's where the locals brought their young children to protect them from the waves and the surf. But Sunday is very big family day, so we learned that from him.
Yeah, and so the locals, they don't necessarily go to the big hotel resort beaches, right? This is the local beach. This is where they go.
Yes.
So that was kind of cool.
Yeah.
Then we went ahead. We stopped at I guess it was Il Mirador, which was a bar restaurant kind of scene just on the beach there. And we stopped and again got a refreshment or two. And they actually were doing some tequila tasting. And this is organic tequila. Didn't know they had that. Anyhow, so we tasted a few different samples of tequila, which was good. And then Aaron and I kind of walked out on the beach, or toward the beach. It's less sand at this point, but it's real rocky and coral-like. And so there was a hill off, going into the water, and we actually kind of walked up that way, and it was real interesting the way the water comes through when the waves come in. It kind of shoots up in different areas. It was really cool.
It was. What's really cool about it is that the waves and the surf comes in at such a force. It has carved some arches in the limestone, so that is where the area we were at. I wanted to film that also.
Yep. Anyhow, so after we left the El Mirador bar restaurant there on the beach, we drove another 10, 15 minutes and made it to a place called Mayan Cacao Company. So we all unloaded out of that, and what did we do there?
So the first thing we did when we entered, we were in like a little open area, and it was kind of cool. It had a little water display,
yeah.
And there was a blackbird there taking a good little bath there. So
it was actually pretty funny. Yeah.
I thought it was pretty entertaining.
He could care less about us. He was taking a bath.
So he kind of talked over how the Mayans discovered. And first of all, he started talking about the Mayan culture, that they normally had 7 to 12 kids, and they did that because they were good workers. So he was talking about how many his grandmother had,
and cheap workers
at that. But the interesting thing is that the Mayans learned of the cacao bean, and then went on to discover chocolate because of a monkey.
Yeah, so kind of the way they described that they discovered the cacao seed, these pods, which contain multiple of these cacao seeds, somehow the monkeys used to get into them, break them open, and I don't know if you hit them on the rocks or what. And this is the Mayan tradition. They're talking about how did they discover it. And the monkeys would poop. Within their poop would be these cacao seeds, because they didn't eat them necessarily. They didn't chew them up. And the Mayan people would take the dung, the dry dung, and use that to start a fire, because it burns real well when it dries. And once they did that, they noticed, wow, these little seeds in their poop, in their dung, smells good.
A sweet smell.
Kind of a sweet smell. So they started taking those seeds out of the monkey dung, and they still probably used the dung to do fires, but then they now have these seeds. So that's just kind of a really cool story how they discovered it. And then kind of the rest is history, and they go around and they know where to find the pods and how to get into them. And they usually ferment them for 7 days, something like that. And again, we did get to taste one of these seeds from the pod, Again, it has this white membrane around it, all the seeds in that pod, and it ferments for a week. And then you throw that in your mouth, and you don't chew on the bitter bean or seed. You suck that white membrane stuff off, and it's incredibly tasty.
It is. So fast forward, after they discovered that, they tried to do different things, and that's when they discovered chocolate. And so they used that, and they drank it during ceremonial, and they used them for medicinal purpose. So here we are with chocolate, thanks to a monkey.
Yeah, and then we did walk into, they had a chef, let's call it that, and had a little stage to set up, and he basically showed how you could make chocolate using cacao seed. And it was really very simple, and he had one of those mortar and pestle that you roll on, right? And so he had the cacao seeds. He put cinnamon with it, a little vanilla, or something else. I think it was like 3 or 4 things. He basically mixed with it and just used the stone to grind it all up, and that's it. That's chocolate, believe it or not. He was like, "Yeah, it's gonna blow you away." And we all got up and got to go sample it. And I'll be darned if it didn't taste like really good chocolate. It's got, it was thicker than your normal creamy chocolate.
Yeah, but it was, hadn't ground down to, it still had some crunch.
That's a good way to put it. Still had some crunch to it because all the ingredients you ground down, different than a creamy Hershey chocolate bar, right?
Yeah.
But I mean, the taste was all there. And it was pretty incredible just to see him make a chocolate bar without doing anything else. No milk, no cream, none of that kind of stuff. And no caramel, nothing needed. Nothing but the bean and some couple of ingredients.
Yeah.
That was pretty cool.
That was cool. So we exited that building and we headed on to the gift shop. Now there they did have chocolate bars with, like he was saying, everything that you can think of, from caramel, vanilla, hazelnut.
And they were giving samples out. I tried, they had a chipotle one. It tasted good. It wasn't hot or anything like that. So they were all good. And I tried a Cacao Company chocolate stout beer. Thought that was interesting too.
Yep. And they had, like I said, it was a gift shop, so they had little things you could purchase, from lotions to any handmade items. So we decided not to purchase anything from that shop and decided just to head on to the bus. So we got on the bus and it was just a short drive, maybe 15 minutes.
Yeah, at the most.
And we arrived at Berriecito. It was a restaurant / bar. The minute we stepped off the bus, on the side of the building was a massive mural of Frida. And if you don't know who Frida is, she is from Mexico. She's very famous, has the dark hair, and she's the unibrow. She has the one brow. So, of course, there was photographers waiting for us to take a picture.
The obligatory picture that they're going to charge you.
So we
did it.
We did. We stood in front of Frida, got our picture, and then headed upstairs.
Yeah, so once we headed upstairs, this was also a tequila tasting is what it was about. And kind of talked about the history of tequila and how we've been doing it wrong all these years.
Yes, he was there to teach us the right way.
But shooting it, salt and lime, that's the way I've always grown up drinking tequila. Don't do it often, but and he said, and when you shoot it like that, the quantity of tequila you're taking in, you're probably destroying some brain cells and you feel like crap in the morning. He said, y'all been doing it all wrong. So he said, I'm gonna tell you how to do it. He said, basically, you get a little bit of tequila in your mouth.
Sip.
You sip it, but that first one, you wash it around wash all around your mouth. Then swallow. Then your second sip, I guess it's already killed all the taste cells. But your second sip, it doesn't have that burn. It doesn't have that harsh taste because you switched it around after the first one. And again, sip it. You don't shoot it, you sip it. Interesting.
So we had 3 different samples.
So we sipped 3 different samples.
So we were able to sample 3 different types of tequila, and he kind of talked us through it again, telling us, to take just sip, enjoy it. We weren't in a hurry. That was the way, the right way to drink tequila.
Yep. So that was fun, and there was a gift shop there as well, I believe. And I took the opportunity. I always, anywhere I go, if I can, I like to eat the street food. That's really getting a better understanding of people's culture. Is what do they eat on the street, not what you eat in the suit and tie restaurant. So they actually had a street vendor providing tacos, and went and got me a couple of tacos. It was chicken, beef, and pork. Yes, it wasn't pastor, which I really love, but it was grilled right there. Watching them do it, right? Anyhow, so nothing like good fresh street food in a country that you're not used to eating.
And so, as he was doing that, the ladies who were the photographers were showing off their beautiful pictures. So we ended up buying our picture with Frida.
There's a lot of pictures we didn't buy, trust me.
Yes.
We did buy that one.
We
And
did
it was
have-
reasonably priced. Some of them are not reasonably priced.
No, it was. We passed up the one. They did take a picture of us at the
The chocolate, cacao factory, whatever.
and we didn't buy that one. So we did buy this one. So
All right, so as we got off the bus, you basically re-enter the port area. There's a port authority person there, and you show them your NCL badge, which we had on a lanyard, and it worked real well. They let you in. And it was interesting, the very first store, this was actually an outdoor kind of vendor. Something we noticed when we came in, they had this coconut that was carved into a hummingbird head. And it was kind of hard to explain, but it was really cool looking. We noticed it when we came in. We weren't going to buy it. I mean, there was no sense to bring it with us anyhow. So we're coming back in to the port, area, and the salesman, we started talking. Hey, yeah, and I said, well, how much you want for that? And he gave me a price, and I said, well, how about this other one? It's even better. It's got 2 hummingbirds on it. And he added just a little bit to it. So we said, you know what? This would be pretty cool. And we talked him down a little bit, and went ahead and purchased that deal. And we're gonna have to pull it out and put it together. It actually comes apart to some extent. He called it a Lego set, but it's just coconut,
Yeah, because it actually had the wings. The wings came out, and we were able. That way we could put it in the suitcase.
Yep. Anyhow, so we kind of went on, did a little bit more shopping, looking for T-shirts and things of that nature. We want to bring something back for the kids.
Yeah, and then I wanted something to remember the trip, and they happened to have one of those cute little wooden boxes that I can put treasures in, and it had Frida on it. So
yeah, that was pretty cool, except for the fact that they had a bunch of them. They were stacked up, but they had some that were facing so you could see the top. And when
on the very edge of the
on the very edge of the shelf, so when Aaron went to grab that one, bunches of them fell off, and we felt like fools. But
the lady who worked there,
she was trying to put them back up, and it happened to her a time or two. All right, so we were trying to figure out what we didn't know the word for sorry in Spanish, and Aaron pulled out her old cell phone and did one of those Google Translator and got us the word real quick, and we apologized to her, and they were like, it happened to her, the lady who worked there, so they were really cool about it.
Yeah.
Nothing got damaged. It was just embarrassing a bit. Yeah. Got a couple of T-shirts, and I guess at that point headed back to the boat.
Yep. So it was time for us to head on to the boat. So we walked to the boat on the concrete walkway.
Remember that the gem's facing this way. No, the gem's facing that way, and the pearl's facing this way, and they're right across the concrete from each other on the dock.
So as we're getting closer to the ship,
This is about 5:30, close to 6 o'clock. But
yeah, getting closer to the ship, we could hear music. I'm like, wow. Somebody's partying and jamming. So I had forgotten in the daily little newsletter that we get that they were having the dock party. So as we were walking and turned the corner,
it was rocking.
And it was our.
That's the reason I brought up. Yeah, the Pearl's right next to us, right? The Pearl's doing nothing. Our people are just, and again, these same people I've talked about, the general manager, the director of the cruise. I mean, all these people, the food and beverage, they were all out there in line we walked through the
So it
line.
was like a conga line. They were all ready to high five us, and they had the music going. Of course, we had the cold towels,
Those are
greeting
nice.
us to put on your neck if you're hot. But you danced in between them
And high-fiving them as you
high
go.
fiving as you're going through. So
Just a fun cruise, fun thing to do when you're coming back. We weren't expecting it, so it was really neat. And again, we did it on our side of the dock. They didn't do it on the other. We got a better crew.
Yeah, so we got on board. We were tired, but we had fun. We weren't quite ready to eat dinner yet, so we again brought our things to our stateroom and decided to relax.
Yeah, and so we relaxed a little bit. But then they had a 7 o'clock show at the Stardust Theater. And old Scotty Goff. This was a comedian that we'd heard a number of days before, or at least earlier in the trip. Decided to go listen to him again, and this is one of these kind of things you don't want to sit on the first 2 rows. Third row, you're pretty safe. Second row, first row, he's gonna look at you and he's gonna find something to pick on you about or joke about.
And he did both shows.
Yeah.
This one was definitely 18 plus rated.
Yeah, the first one was not really necessarily adult themed. This one had a little bit more adult theme to it.
Yeah.
And but it was really funny, really
entertaining. It was
entertaining.
a good time. It was entertaining. So thumbs up.
Yeah, so kind of got hungry at that point. So around 8 o'clock or so, it doesn't matter what time, you can go to the Garden Cafe if you're hungry. Mm-hmm. So around 8 o'clock, we went over there and grabbed a bite to eat.
Yep, filled our bellies. And once we finished that, we decided to go ahead and one of our other favorite places, the Atrium. We wanted to grab a drink, and Tonia, the acoustical
Yeah, we
singer.
listened to her a time or two before, really good. She was playing. She plays by herself with an acoustic guitar and has a great voice, and just really entertaining. So we sat there in those nice plush, comfortable chairs in the atrium, and I think we had talked to our friends from South Georgia, just some of the people.
Because they had gone to the comedian show too.
Yep, they did. And it's like, again, you're on an 11-day cruise, man. You got time to meet people. And you're going to see them time and time and time again. You wouldn't think with over 2,000 people, you see the same people. Because you probably got the same type of interest, right?
Right.
So that was really fun to see the same people. And the ones you like. Sit and talk with them, have a beer, talk about life. It's just kind of fun.
So,
But again, Tanya was very good. We enjoyed listening to her.
Absolutely. And she plays different genres too.
Yeah.
Normally she's in the Magnum's bar, but she was in the Atrium this time, playing all different kind of music. So it's, you're not hearing the same music. They have the same bands playing different nights or singers, but they do not play the same genre of music every time. So they change it up, which is nice. So that night at 10, I knew they were going to bring all the bands together poolside on the stage. So Daryl and I wanted to get some good seats. We thought we left early enough, but we ended up having to pull some chairs around so we could see them well. But that was really fun.
Yeah, and so it was a combination of every group, every band that played, and there was the trumpet and the jazz kind of band. You had the Latino, the upbeat Latino band. You had a DJ. You had a Upgrade who played everything from Western to rock and roll, Leonard Skinner, and everything under the moon. They played everything. And there were a few other people there, including the director of the entertainment, or the cruise director, they call her, and some of the other entertainers that were part of that.
The trivia shows.
Yeah, the ones who did all those trivia shows, and bingo and all that. Hell, they all could sing.
Sing, dance, they were bringing the party.
Yeah, so again, just a lot of fun outdoors there. And I went and filmed in a couple different locations, and it's really fun to kind of hear and see everybody all together in this one big group. Well, it was a lot of fun. I mean, it was nice just seeing everybody that we see in all these different, areas of the boat coming together, and they obviously got to practice because it sounded really good. But you had 20 people on stage, different people singing every other song. It was a lot of fun.
So then we needed to scurry off to the Spinnaker and get ready for Upgrade. They had to pack up their
They had to pack up all their gear, their guitar, all that kind of stuff. I think the drum set stays in there, but they had to pack up all their stuff as soon as the Ocean Music Fest was over, and head over to the Spinnaker to do Stay Grooving with Upgrade. Again, they played Motown, they played R&B, they played dance music, pop, anything
Country.
you can think of, man. They played it and played it well. That was kind of key.
So that started at 11, and it's normally about an hour show. So here we are at midnight, and guess what? We have to move the clocks an hour up again.
So we lose another hour. So that means it's time to go to bed, and we have an at-sea day tomorrow. We're heading towards Miami from Cozumel, Mexico, and then the following day will be we'll have to depart from the ship, unfortunately.
So we hope you enjoyed this video, and it gives you some insight. If you ever go on this cruise, we did want to let you kind of inform you, because the title only talks about the cacao and the chocolate. It did not talk about honey or tequila. So I knew we were visiting that book and reading the excursion, but there were a lot of people on the bus for the excursion that didn't realize that they were going to get some honey and tequila tasting in it also. So
but even if you're not going to be on the NCL 11-day Panama Canal Cruise, other boats go to Cozumel, right?
Absolutely, yeah.
And these excursions are not specific to NCL customers, right, or passengers. These excursions may be available for any boat, any ship that goes there. So even if you don't do the NCL 11-day Panama Canal Cruise, it's important to understand these excursions. As always, we will see you in the next video.